So the situation with Didon is, it's not completely, out of the norm, but he was a 2024. Mm-hmm. You're trying to get him in for 2023. He's making his decision well into the recruiting process. A lot of the guys have been pulled out of the portal. I mean, there's communication, but then there's also is there a tiny bit of fear hey, maybe at the last minute, we think we're getting him. We think we got our point guard for the next year's roster. Is there a little bit of fear hey, they may just change their mind. Someone may come in and change his mind.
Yeah, I think that, that is always a fear, and we're going through the process of that. And you are kind of recruiting guys and kind of anticipating, okay, if he doesn't do this, if he does do this, what are we going to do? And we got to that point where it's okay, we have a good feeling, but we still don't know. But we're also, looking at the portal, having conversations, trying to figure it out. And then when that happened, it's okay, we can back off of that and let him come on in. And then we just turn our attention to, grab the next piece, which we were fortunate enough to get another high school kid in Jacob Benarby, who is going to be a very good player for us. And, exciting guy that we were able to land him. And a lot of people across the country didn't know if he was a 23 or 24, and then he ended up being a 23 and qualifying and being here.
Why do you like him?
Size, athleticism. He has a skill set to be able to handle the ball, but he's tough and physical. His body, the first time I seen him, I was like, he's a man. He's already a big kid, and getting in college and getting a weight regimen and having a routine, he's going to be a big, strong kid and, be able to do a lot of things that's productive for the Rebel program.
Let's talk about some of the other bigs, because you work with a lot of these guys. What can we expect from Isaiah Cottrell? First of all, he's got to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. And he's got to stay confident that he can stay healthy. But in terms of the role he's going to fill, because you're going to need some physicality from him.
Yes, he's a big physical guy. It's just you look at him, look at his building, you see him in the weight room, yeah, he's moving that stuff, really easily, and he's pushing some weight around. As he's making so much positive trajectory, as far as he's running on the floor now, and he's getting back to doing basketball things. That as you see him in there, you get excited that he's actually involved in basketball activity with us, and he's pushing forward every day of getting better physically. Another guy that's going to be big and be physical for us, has made a lot of strides this spring and summer, is Carl Jones. Right, Carl didn't play a whole much last year, but he really focused and he really worked, and we spent a lot of time together. And one of the best things to that during this portal situation and having guys step away from the program, I got to spend a lot of one-on-one time with him and individual stuff. And so he's made such huge strides offensively and defensively, and taking time and going through the motions and getting the repetitions of doing things and getting all the reps. Right, he's not sharing. He's getting all the attention of my eyes, Will's eyes, all of our attention on that, and he's making steps where he's okay, Carl's making a push to be able to play and give us some productive minutes as we go through this. So, I know he didn't play a whole bunch and people don't know what to expect, but Carl's a big physical guy. He got some fouls to use, and he's making some strides offensively.
I'll just say, in the limited time we saw him play last year, the one thing I did like about him, and not all big guys have this, he does want to finish, and he does want to finish strong. Not every big guy goes in just to freaking hammer the ball, and he's very physical. I don't know that you can teach that. He seems like he's got a little attitude.
Absolutely, he's a tough, mean guy, and his size obviously helps with his being able to finish around the rim. And our guys know when Carl gets it, they kind of get out the way in practice. If you want to make it out of here, do not go in there and stick your face in there, because you might come back missing the nose.
So along those lines, one of the observations from watching guys last year, especially with the big guys, there was a lot of opportunities at the rim, but there were some inconsistencies with finishing at the rim. How do you work on that? Because people think I'm working on your shot as jump shots, but there's obviously working within 4 feet of the basket.
Well, with me, a lot of things I try to teach is foot placement, balance, being strong, going off 2 feet, and having the mentality to attack, right? Being physical, going towards the rim, and just kind of the repetition of it, right? And, get a guy like Caleb Boom, who's going to be slight of stature, but he's really, really good at finding angles and putting the ball off the glass and scoring it. He's going to absolutely add to what we have, because he will be a post presence, right? He's expanding a little bit and showing a little bit more outside. I know when he was at Oklahoma State, you watch his film, everything he did was around the basket, and he got post touches and tip-ins, but he's expanding and showing he can play out the high post and handle the ball. And so I think us finishing on the rim, that'll be another element for us offensively that we've added with going into the portal.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Caleb separate, because we've been referencing, hey, just the Boone twins, but they're not. They're twins, but they don't have the same game. So talk about his brother and then his outside skill set.
Well, they came to us as shooter Boone, that's Keelan, and post Boone, that's Caleb. And so they definitely, you can tell as they grown up, they played basketball to complement one another. right? Keelan's been outside threat. Caleb's been inside threat, and they just kind of like just play that way of basketball. And so Keelan is, he's a big guy with size, 6'8", 6'9", who can really, really shoot the ball, and it looks really good when it comes off his hand every single time. And then you got Caleb, who is the individual, like he can post. I think there's going to be guys in our conference going to have a hard time. And what he's really good at is using his length and slender build to get people in positions to where they foul him. I think that's where he's going to do a lot of damage, is calling people to foul him. And he's good at it. He has a knack for finishing at the rim and getting and ones.
Talking Rebel Hoops, running Rebel Hoops with Jamaal Williams, one of the assistant coaches with Cofield and Company, ESPN Reno, ESPN Las Vegas. John's here. It is Cofield. So let's assume that DJ Thomas comes in. He earns the starting job, or he's going to get serious minutes at the point guard. Who are the other options? Who else do you feel comfortable when he's out? Who's going to run the point?
Justin Webster is going to run it. He's going to spend a little time to it, but one thing that we've kind of been working with and have an option with doing is Jalen Hill running the point. Him handling the ball and being able to bring it up. Like, with the talent that we have on our team this year, it's not going to be. We don't need to necessarily have a whole bunch of people that need to just great to get the ball across half court. And this high IQ basketball team will be able to make plays for each other. That's one thing we've already seen in summer practice. We think the game at a high level across the board, and we've elevated in that manner where they make plays for one another just off of being basketball players and being unselfish and having IQs.
So you think you're like with that, like Jalen Hill, is he 6'6"? Like, yep. You can have some pretty big at times last year, right? You guys switched a lot, but there was a little bit small in stature. It seems you'd be more equipped just from a size perspective to do that defensively.
Absolutely. I think that, just having even a guy like Jalen Hill on the wing being able to catch and finish, like he's made plays in practice where you're like, well, we didn't have that last year. Right, he got a rebound, he pushes up in transition, and he's finishing at the rim. EJ was really good, but he had to do things where he was Euro stepping and trying to sidestep people that he's going and finishing over guys and putting his face and his arm into people's chest and finishing at the rim. And it's just, his size is just, it's there, and he's made plays where he's gotten the paint and turn and had easy finishes. Like, he's going to be something to deal with. He fits along the lines with the Dagan Harts and those guys in the conference that, big guys that can handle the ball and make plays.
Jamaal Williams with us. Let's talk about some of the other newcomers. I saw Whaley walking around, big fella.
Yeah.
Sure, you can connect with him. Super athletic for the size. So, how does he kind of carve out a role, and how's he look so far?
Rob is a big, physical, and shockingly athletic big dude, and he can really, really pass. With his size, it's going to be hard for people to keep him off the paint. If they don't box him out, he will run into you and throw his body around. He's not afraid to use it, and he'll get offensive rebounds. And then he also has a knack for making plays. It's just, you can tell, we'll watch him at CSI. They put a lot of shooters around him, and he's catching in the post and three-quarter mid-post, and he's backing down guys. And if they overcommit and trying to double, he's finding shooters, and he's really developed a skill at doing that. And so, with his size, his ability to finish at the rim, and, the athleticism, I think there's going to be some plays this year when he's on the floor that's going to shock some people, because if you look at him and you just see his body and how big and wide he is, you go, oh, okay. Then he gets up in the air, you go, whoa, that's a lot of big man moving. And so he's going to make some plays. He's going to be a force inside, and he's going to be a matchup problem for a lot of people because they're going to make some decisions and have to make some decisions because he is adept to handle the ball and making plays.
Well, it should be cool, and we got about a minute left. It should be cool. We'll use that as an example. I think Boise is going to be co-favorite with San Diego State. I think you guys are up there as well. But in the case of a guy like Dagan Hart, where Boise's like, all right, sometimes we're going to post him up, and if you're not strong enough to stop him, then you're in trouble. But it sounds like you guys got enough bodies now. You can rotate on them who are thick, athletic, who can at least – I'm not saying you're going to stop them, but you're not going to get dominated physically.
Yes, absolutely. I think, even like, our strength conditioning coach LB has really hit the guys hard in the weight room this spring and summer, and they've put on some mass. So we're going to be a big, strong physical team with a lot of guys with diversity that can change and switch and apply pressure. And then I think we'll do a better job rebounding the ball as well, because we're going to be able to box out and seal people off and be able to get it and go.
A couple seconds left. Your guy Brooklyn Hicks so far?
Amazing. He's great. Brooklyn is shocked us with how competitive he is. He has an edge. He's not a guy that you look at and he looks at them and goes, I'm a freshman. He comes out there and he brings it and he plays hard, and his speed and athleticism, it shows every day.